In this video, I'll be showing you how to use Chat Playground within Azure AI Studio, or what we call it as Azure AI Foundry. Chat Playground basically allows you to create and test a chatbot by interacting with it and see how it responds to various inputs. So you have a model, you deploy that model, and once you deploy that model, you can start testing the behavior of the model by providing some inputs, what we call it as prompts. Now, depending on the output which you receive, you can fine tune the model and suit it to your requirement. Now, as you see over here, we have a chat completion model selected. So we will select one of the chat completion model, and then on basis of that, we can start testing that particular model. Now, in Chat Playground, once you have a deployment, you can select the deployment one out of the multiple deployment which you have created, and then you can provide model to the instructions and the context. And there are ways through which you can add your data and parameters, and then accordingly you can test the model over here. And once everything is good, you can start uh, utilizing those model within your application. So from a sample prompts perspective, now as you see over here, there are some sample prompts which are provided by Microsoft. So one of the sample prompt is before say dialogue creation. So one of the text which is mentioned over here is create a conversation between two characters who are meeting for the first time in a mysterious place. Or character development, describe a day in the life of a superhero who has lost the power. So these are some of the instructions or samples which are provided by the system, which will basically help you understand what to type in when you start testing the model. So one is about poetry generation, then we have creative storytelling, recipe creation. So those kind of things which you can utilize over here. Now, how to start with all this thing is like you first navigate to Azure AI Foundry. Make sure that you create a hub and a project. And once you create that hub or a project, you can navigate to that particular hub or project. So as you see over here, I have this Azure AI Hub Girish. Okay, so I'll go into one of the hub which I have created. I'll go to launch Azure AI Foundry. And once I'm in the Azure AI Foundry, I can navigate to the project. So I have this whole bunch of project created. Now I'll select Girish Deck 2024. I'll say let's go. And then once you are in the project context, you have an option to go with the playground. Now here in the playground, you have various playgrounds which are ready-made available. So this example, we are going to talk about chat playground. So here, the first option it says create and test a chatbot by interacting with it to see how it responds to various inputs. So I'll click on try the chat playground. And once you're within the context of this chat playground, you can do a lot of things. So first thing is selection of the playground. So you can select multiple playground from this drop down over here. So I'm in the chat playground. Then you have this option to view the code, navigate to prompt flow. So let me click on view code. Then you can actually view the code. So you can view the code in Python. So this is like the code which is in Python. Then you can see the endpoint. Okay, so that you can see the endpoint from here. You can copy this endpoint. You can also see the key authentication within this particular code endpoint, and then the API key. Then if you want to see the code in say JSON, so these are the parameters which you are going to send using JSON. So this is the message, past message, temperature, top p, frequency penalty, presence penalty, max token stop. Then we have a code in C sharp, so you can view the code in C sharp, how it is written in C sharp, how do you set the parameters in C sharp, how do you initialize the chat client, how to initialize the Azure OpenAI client. So all these stock standard codes are ready-made available. You can use curl as well. So curl code is mentioned. So that's a command line curl. You provide the URL, you pass on the parameters. Then we have Java code. So here this is a Java code. Then we have a Go code over here, and then we have a JavaScript. How do you define those things in JavaScript? So this is about sample code. Then we have prompt flow. So you can create a prompt flow. You can orchestrate and customize the setup with this prompt flow. For that, you need to first create a folder, and then once you create that folder, you can define your own prompt flow. Basically, if you want to consume some third-party service and then pass on to the model and then get the response back from the model. Evaluate, you can do a manual evaluation or automated evaluation. You can deploy this as a web application. You can import a JSON file or import a prompty file for the configuration parameters. You can export as a JSON file or a prompty file, and you can view various prompt samples. So if we click on prompt samples, here you can see various prompt samples like the JSON formatter assistant, hiking recommendation chatbot, Shakespeare and writing assistant. So let me click on hiking recommendation chatbot. So if I just type in hiking recommendation chatbot, I can use this prompt. Okay. And then here, if you see, this has changed. Give the model instructions and context. So this is how you basically write a prompt. You say, I'm a hiking enthusiast named Forrest who helps people discover fun hikes in their area. I'm upbeat and friendly. I introduce myself. I provide where they are located, what hiking intensity they are looking for. So this way, you can give an instruction to the model. You can also generate a prompt. So if I click on generate a prompt, you can describe what you want the model to do. So I'll just say, I want model to provide assistance on finding uh, places to visit in Brisbane. Reject all other questions from user. So you are just providing a basic instruction. So you basically want to give the model instructions and context, but then for that you don't know how to write it in a format. So you are asking the system to generate a prompt. Now if I click on send, it will automatically generate a instruction, and then once that is done, it will populate over here. So as you see over here, it says assist the user in finding places to visit in Brisbane, reject and provide appropriate feedback for any queries not related, and there are other things, guideline for assistance, depth of suggestions. So if you want to see in more depth, this is how you expand this, and it has automatically created a prompt. So you can make use of the system prompts generate prompt feature. Okay. There is a section called as add section, so you can add a safety system messages. So if you want, you can do that. So I'll add safety system message, avoid harmful content, avoid ungrounded content, avoid jailbreak, avoid copyright infringement. So I'll just add this, select insert. So this is a safety system message which we are adding. Similarly, you can add examples and variables. So examples, you can provide examples from a user or assistant, or you can provide a variable. So you can add that variable. So I'll just call it as say var1. Okay, so this is just one example. I'm adding a var1 variable. Now this variable can be used within your uh, system. You can edit, you can delete it. So I don't want the examples for the user. And here, when you say add your data, from here you can add your data. You can select available project index. Now currently do not have a project index, or we do not have an added data source, which I'm going to cover in my next topic. You can pass on the parameters. So parameters are basically a dials basically you use to configure the model. Temperature, top, p, stop sequence, frequency, penalty, all those things I'm going to cover that in a separate video. But just for this example, over here, make sure that once you make those changes, uh, you you save those values. Now the good thing what I've seen in this particular model is, first is, you have specified guidelines for assistance. Now this is done by the system. Now this is how you write. So guidelines for assistance, relevance, depth of suggestions, and then rejection handling. So if the user's query is unrelated to places visit in Brisbane, then gently state that you do not have any information. Similarly, how the output should be formatted, and also examples. Now it has automatically taken an example like what are the best places to visit in Brisbane, and it has given output as South Bank Parklands, Mount Coot, the Lookout, Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary. So it has taken that example, it has taken that intelligence from the web, and then tried to craft in the form of a model, instructions, and context. So this is all good, and also is given a negative scenario as well, like instead of places, if you ask for weather, you just need to promptly deny that request and say, I'm here to assist the finding places to visit in Brisbane only. Okay, and once you do that, there's a button over here, click on apply changes. So I'll click on apply changes and click on continue, and then this particular model will be tuned to just talk about the places to visit in Brisbane. Okay, and once that is done, you can come here and you can start testing the model. Okay, so these are the things which you can do. So in the chat history over here, if I just say compose a poem about the beauty of nature in autumn, let's see what happens. So if I just type in that prompt, it will say, oh no, I'm here to assist with finding places to visit in Brisbane only. So if you have any of that question, then only ask. So I'll just say places to visit in Brisbane during summer. Okay, so if I type in this, then it will start giving me the output like a street beach, South Bank, Lone Pile Corner Sanctuary, Stratbock Island, Story Bridge, and whole bunch of things. So if I ask for weather in Brisbane, it will promptly deny my request. Okay, it will just say, oh no, I'm not able to provide that response. Or if I just say places to visit in it's a nearby city, so like say Sydney. Okay, again it will say, oh no, I'm just restricted to Brisbane, please do not ask me anything apart from that. So this is how you can fine tune your model, and then based on the output, you have now restricted the flow of information, and you are just concentrating on a specific area. Now from an interface perspective, you can hide this setup, or you can show the setup. There is an option to clear the chat, so I'll just clear the chat. So it will clear the chat, so this will permanently delete the current chat history, so I can clear the chat. There is a setting over here, so speech language United States. So if there is a microphone button over here, so you can ask the prompt, ask question by speaking. So I'll just say, so if you click over here, it says language United States, enable speech to text. So if I just say speech to text, so this is enabled now. And you have an option to enable text to speech as well. Okay, so let me just say enable speech to text. Okay, so here it will give you the information about the token which you have consumed. If I click over here, then I have another option to enable speech to text. I have an option to enable text to speech, and then I have an option to select the voice as well. So if I select Ava and 1x, uh, and then I just need to say, I acknowledge the spoken chat will incur usage to my subscription, and I can play this. So, and I'll get that response back from the system, right? So I'm not going to configure that, but this is just like these are the options which are currently available. Now if you click over here, it will take you that same interface, chat capability. So you can so speaker and microphone are the two icons through which you can navigate to that chat capabilities. So this is how you can operate on the chat playground. Now there are variables which we have created. Remember, we created this variable so that you can specify the value to the variable, or you can use that variable anywhere within the configuration flow, so that you can make the input dynamic. Okay, so those all things I'm going to cover in the next or upcoming videos, but for now this is all about chat playground. Thanks for watching.